Let's go.
Richards trying to scoot in there alone. It pinballs to the crease.
Let's get it.
Oh my God!
Here we go. You're listening to the Street Bullies podcast with your hosts, Derek.
How you gonna get it, Bobby?
John. Matt Casey.
Unnecessary, but totally necessary.
And Cody.
What's not to love?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Street Bullies. My name is Derek.
And I'm John. What's going on, everybody?
And as always, we are joined by the Matts, Matt Casey.
Happy almost Halloween. Great to see
And
you.
Matt Dillon.
And Matt Dillon.
Gentlemen, what's going on?
Last but certainly not least.
Big BC hockey fan there, Hoagie.
I'm going to the game next week, so I
So you bought a
gotta
sweatshirt from
Hell
you
yeah.
are
Rip the sleeves off that thing, man.
Bill
Get-
Belichick, that bitch.
Frat it up.
Okay, do me a favor, Hoagie. Never buy a sweatshirt that doesn't have a hood again, okay?
Dude, I gotta disagree. I think a
I
good like
love the crew neck
non-hooded,
sweaters.
a good crew neck will get you going places.
My kid
No,
wears
man.
crew
You
necks and he's
sit the
2.5.
wrong way and people are throwing stuff down that crew neck all day long.
From what
The same could
angle?
be said about a hood.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
Good fun putting your hood on and coding, you pill.
all right. Well, let's get this one back on the tracks here.
What happens when we do Sunday night? We're all a little lit. Yeah.
Yo,
Just a little
hungover.
bit.
but store brand Oktoberfest today.
Is not store brand.
No,
It is
that's what I'm drinking.
Oh,
That's what I was
store
drinking.
brand.
Store brand Oktoberfest from Lidl.
Ooh. I'd try it. I would absolutely try it.
It was like prison beer.
Beer's beer, right? Does the same job. Anyways, Hoagie, hit the graphics. We're going to talk about the games from this past week where the Flyers overachieved a little bit, we'll say. They came out. This is all from last week, so thanks for updating, Hoagie.
No,
they did not
what?
beat the Lightning this week.
Dude, it didn't save.
Oh, man. Hoagie, you've got one job, man.
Here
One
I
job.
One.
Oh, my goodness, man. One single
See.
job.
Well, don't worry about
Oh,
it now,
no,
Hoagie.
you know what
It's
I did?
okay.
I just didn't do the.
You know what you
I-
didn't do?
Specs on the
graphic.
ovaries and yeah.
It's fixed
All
right
right.
now.
Regardless, what we're going to get into here this past week, we had, obviously, I think we touched on the Sharks loss, but we did beat the Panthers 4-3, which was awesome. No one really expected that. And then we took a loss in overtime to the Hurricanes, which, okay, I can live with. Not bad.
Respectful.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, got 3 points out of a possible 4 this past week, which, not too shabby. What do you think, John?
I mean, this Flyers team is like that crazy ex-girlfriend from high school where like 99% of her, you're like, I've got to look the other way. But there's that one thing she does. You know what I'm talking about, Hoagie, where it's like you can't help but keep coming back. I watch these games and for like 90% of it, I'm like, what is happening? How are we still in this game? I mean, what was it, Florida? 104 shot attempts?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
104? I mean,
And
51
half
got
of them got on goal.
Yeah.
it's why I mean,
51,
it's crazy.
right?
But I think the biggest thing, trying to be a little more serious, the biggest thing that I took away from these past few games, but also from like all of October, was I'm happy that this team is finding success, but I'm also happy that we aren't getting this false sense of skill. Like, I don't think that Chuck Fletcher could walk away from this season, even if this team somehow squeaked into the playoffs and go, oh, yep, we're good, right? Like, there are still clear needs that this team has up and down the lineup, and skill being a big part of it. So although I'm happy that we're winning, I'm also glad that it's not too much of like a false view of
It's almost like, oh my God, we're winning.
right.
Versus like,
Yeah.
oh, of course we're winning.
Pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
Right.
When you set your expectations as low as we all have, it's kind of nice to be pleasantly surprised. John's going sideways there. Hello.
Something's in my thing
Whoa.
here.
There he is. No, I think you bring up a great point there. I am encouraged specifically of the fact that every single goal the Flyers scored, all 7 of them, it was somebody different. Farabee, Lawton, D'Angelo, McEwen, and Delorier are on the score sheet now.
Dick Nick.
I mean,
Whooped
it's
it too.
steal of the offseason. Jesus.
Right?
Yeah, but honestly,
How do you not give that guy a no
we want to
movement clause?
trash Chuck Fletcher. Some of the biggest highlights this year so far has been the additions. Tony D'Angelo, I don't care what anybody says, man. He has been phenomenal.
Person aside, like think of it as a hockey player.
BSN
Great hockey
has
move.
been phenomenal. He's brought exactly what I want.
Did you
Just
just
say Big Stick
BSN
Nick.
Big Stick
Just-
Nick?
Yeah,
How?
BSN.
How?
Big Stick Nick.
It's
Well, I
like
didn't wanna
saying
say-
BDN for Big Dick Nick. Like, come on, don't do that. Just
Well,
you
I don't
gotta
want to
say,
say
it.
it every time.
Why not?
Just listen. Is that better?
Yeah,
Afraid that it might lose its
Big
luster,
dick,
and
stick neck.
lose a little wood.
We're saying stick. This is a rated G show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's
Okay.
not.
We'll remember that in 5 minutes when Casey lets the F-bomb slip here. But, or we might get to it sooner. Casey, what do you think?
What the fuck? I'm Derek. You and I were going back and forth last night a little bit, and we're just like, my comment was, we are so obnoxious to play against because, like John said, like we don't dominate the play, but then
Right.
we're also like, hey, you have a 2-goal lead. Way to go, Carolina. Guess what? Our 4th line's gonna light you up. Like, it's so ridiculous. Like it's not like a 1-game thing or a 2-game thing. Like we're now 7-8 games in, and yes, small sample size.
Now you don't need to say that anymore.
Yeah,
Right.
but we're well into, we're past the first month of the season. We're seeing the guys continue to find ways to get points and win. It's hideous. It's not beautiful hockey, but you know what? It's fun, and it's fun to
Right.
watch. Like teams think they're going to be like, all right, here come the Flyers, the stomping mat of the division, and then seeing Big Stick Nick and Allison and whoever else, chip stuff in, and that's the last. The one thing that I was thinking about, not to get like too far down a rabbit hole, I'm now like even more frustrated that we had talent in the last couple of years, and it was just so apparent that we had no effort.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and it's so
Wasted.
frustrating. Yeah,
Right.
it is absolutely frustrating. But you know what?
Like a freaking McEwen on the power play now, and we're winning games.
That's the key.
You love to see it.
We have our 3 biggest forwards all on IR. We have our top defenseman on IR. We have we basically have kids going from prep school into the lineup here. And
Welcome to
we're
the
still
big
finding
leagues,
ways to do it.
pal.
So, you know what it is? It's character, and I like it.
Mhm.
Hoagie, your general thoughts on this past week?
I'm gonna say I said it last week
Oh my god.
about the Panthers game. Carter Hart is the difference.
Oh,
Ooh,
100%.
wow, groundbreaking stuff, but
Told you.
analysis, Hoagie.
Mm,
can we
whatever.
stop 53 million shots? That's kind of
But
yeah.
he's the one keeping
I'm
us
with you,
in these
Hoagie. There's a
games.
difference between a Carter Hart of 2 years ago and a Carter Hart now.
What's the line
Well,
from
yeah.
the Water Boy? It's like says it over and over again. We know.
Last game of the
hold
season.
anything back.
No, I mean, this team has been fun to watch. I think most of us going into the season were just depressed and not even wanting to watch this team. And it's a game that we enjoy watching. Casey's turned on the game Thursday night. He's like, what is happening? Like, we're winning a game. Like, I was like, it's fun hockey, and that's what I'm appreciating. We're scoring by committee, just like Tortorella said. Like Derek said, we've got multiple guys on the score sheet with goals.
Yep.
I love to see that. That you need all 4 lines clicking. I know it's probably not going to last forever. We're going to see Nick Delorier and Zach McEwen scoring random goals every once in a while. But I mean, I'll take what we can get for now. So
Now, I have a good follow-up question because you did bring up Carter Hart. We went and saw him go from I think it was a 9.49 save percentage. Now he's at a 9.38, respectable. Is that sustainable to you guys?
No,
Yeah, absolutely.
Shut
not.
up. Shut up.
it's not.
Matt Casey.
Yeah, no,
Is
it's
that-
not.
Okay. That's fair.
No,
That's fair.
It's not, but even something close.
Like a
I think about
920.
last night, the first goal last night, I was like, dude,
That was a weird one.
Carter,
Yeah,
come
right.
on. It was, it was the ricochet off of one of the stall freaking mutants, and it's just like you gotta have one of those, but you can't complain about it because he stopped 51 of 53 shots the other night, and so you're like, all right, like you got to give the guy a pass. But like, no, it's not going to last, and you just hope that the team's defensive structure can like develop enough where we're not giving more than 30 shots a night, which like I think is the line of demarcation where like things get ugly. But like, I can't see how that lasts. But you know what? I don't even know what to think with this team anymore.
Right,
Like,
I mean, at
they're,
this
they're
point.
defying the odds.
Well, they faced, or Carter Hart specifically, has faced 89 shots these past 2 games. Like, this guy's going to keep getting pounded with pucks, and you're going to, no way that's sustainable. Like, I think John was the one that brought up the 920. Like,
Right.
I could live with that. I could absolutely live with that, given the Carter Hart that we've seen over the past couple years.
But I wonder what the average is. Like, I think they start to say it's like respectable around like 910, like 915,
910's
whatever.
Decent,
Right.
Like when you get down to the low 900s, like
Right.
that's where it's kind of like, because last year Martin Jones and Hart, for that matter, I think were sub 900,
Sub
which
900.
that right there. But Hart hasn't had. I could be mistaken. Has he had a year where he's saved over 91% of his shots?
I
don't
know.
I mean,
2020.
Maybe. I mean, that was a decent year for him. But like even then, I mean, again, I joke, I kid. I just think it's funny how people like to point out that's not sustainable. Like, no shit, buddy. Like, come on.
Right.
I also think, I know we'll talk about this in a bit, but like, Torts in his press conference last night and the other night and multiple other nights, just like, I'm just taking this one game I don't even know what day it is. Like, it's one game at a time.
Right.
And I think that this is probably the first time, at least in my recent memory, that I've been like, I don't know what's happening in the next week. I know what's happening in the next 3 games, but I don't know what's happening 2 weeks from now. I'm not looking at the month of November as like a holistic thing.
Because the team could look completely different.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Who knows who's on waivers next week? Like,
Right.
You're the next one down on the Flyers claim a waiver wire pickup.
we got plenty of cap space now.
No,
So
fair point.
Hart since he started is 917, 914, 877, 905, and right now is 938.
Okay. So he has saved over 91%. Okay.
He's also, I mean, maybe you guys don't think the same thing, but to me, he seems to be better when he's getting completely peppered all night long. Like, the more activity he has,
He
seems to
dials
be
in.
better for him. Yeah.
The last 2 minutes of that Florida game, like I was up here right now watching it on my computer, and I'm thinking to myself, I think I had 5 heart attacks in a 2-minute span. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
oh my God. And
Yeah.
that's an oh my God to the fact that Florida applied that much pressure, and an oh my God to the fact that Carter Hart stopped every single one of those pucks. Like, that was phenomenal.
Right.
Well, I mean, the team has gotten at least 1 point every start he's had, right?
Yeah.
They have.
Well, there you go.
He has not lost in regulation yet. Can't say the same about Felix Sandstrom.
Yeah, well, poor
But-
fellow.
He's still searching for
it's
his first NHL win.
You're right.
Like,
He's just, and like, if we're being real, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but so we have back-to-back with New York and Toronto with a border jump on top of that. Thanks NHL. Appreciate
yeah,
the look.
right.
And do you start Sandstrom against New York, or do you start
Better
Hart?
not.
No,
He better not.
you
I
gotta
hope
make
We're
Hart
going to
against
that
you.
game.
We're going there.
You guys are
I
going to see
don't have a
Sandstrom in
Sandstrom
that.
T-shirt jersey I can wear. Yeah.
Well,
Yo, are
Tuesday,
you wearing any of your gear on Tuesday? I might do a hat.
I'll rock a hat, but my days
Alright.
of rocking jerseys behind
Yeah.
enemy lines are done. Like
Mhm.
I once I hit like 32, I'm like, I'm too old to
I
start
had a
getting it
beer
out.
can thrown at me in
So
the
I
parking
still
lot
have
of the
4 years.
Nassau Coliseum.
Is that because you wore the jersey? Or because you were mouthing off? Be honest.
I don't mouth off. I mean,
That's
not at least in
that's just
person.
me.
That way, if we're God forbid, if we go down, it's just like, yeah, just take the hat and just tuck it
Hide
away.
the hat.
Me and Casey just get into a
Was it-
brawl with a bunch of New Yorkers.
Wasn't it
Oh,
last?
I can't wait.
Wasn't it during the playoffs where New York fan just absolutely leveled somebody?
Yeah,
Yeah.
was it a Carolina fan? I
It
can't
was-
remember.
it
who
was-
Oh, it's Tampa Bay.
It was Tampa Bay.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
the
forgot
Rangers
about
fan.
that.
That was like a huge. I mean, that's
That's
messed
assault,
up.
brother.
That's the equivalent of, we like to say how passionate our fans are, but like Winter Classic 2010 when a Rangers fan got his ass kicked at Pat's or Geno's or what, at one of those places after the game. Like, no joke. Like, he got his
Should know
ass
better.
kicked and had to go to the hospital. And it's
Yeah.
like,
Should have went
so
somewhere else.
wild.
dude, like, come on. Like, we're,
Yeah.
we're here watching a game, you dumbasses.
Yep.
Get it together.
A fair point. Fair point.
It
But
was
no,
Derek.
it's
It was
Can we
Derek.
talk about John Tortorella's comments after the game?
that's later on, John.
Is it? Okay.
Just calm down. All right.
All right.
We're gonna go in order here because Hoagie laid it out for us.
I didn't think we mentioned that in the order.
We didn't have it in the order.
I put it in
He's
the order because I'm the
completely
host of the
messed this
show.
whole thing up.
I think the
It's
other
last.
hand is on the other foot.
Okay, it's last. Can we bump it up to now?
Hoagie,
It's just-
can we bump it? You're the
Bump it.
producer, man.
I don't have a banner for it, so just bump it.
You would never last in news.
All right,
Ever.
we're bumping.
All right, Tortorella press conference. Go ahead, John. You wanted to talk about it.
I love that he put that self-righteous Charlie O'Connor in his place. They come in with all this negative crap, and he's just like, "Shut up! We played 2 good periods. Half glass full, guys.
Glass
like-
half full,
Glass. Is that what I said?
half glass full.
Half glass full.
Or
Sounds
did-
like
yeah,
that.
you're found now? Yes.
Ow now, brown cow.
I like that, even though I think, when you're watching the game, there are just a million mistakes you could point out, that he's able to go, hey, I like the way that we look. Like, look at the team that we're putting out onto the ice, right? I think at one point I was worried that it was going to always just be, oh, we're not good enough. Oh, we're not playing good enough. So it was nice for him to kind of like bite back at some of like that negativeness when we took the Carolina Hurricanes to overtime.
Yeah.
And I look at you beat a 2-goal deficit, had a lead with 2 minutes left in the game, and like I think it was a defensive breakdown. I think Hart probably should have saved that, but you know what? Credit, it's a good shot. Like I'm not going to blame whoever that guy was who scored the goal, but
Brent Burns.
Yep.
no,
Crazy.
That was
the game
overtime.
Game time.
Oh, you're talking
Overtime.
yeah, the Burns one, like, okay, they had us pinned in and they
Right.
were about to snipe us, but like that 2 minutes left of
Right,
regulation,
Nikas, or like Nakis or
Natchez.
something.
Yeah.
Sure.
I look at Carolina as almost a team that we're trying to emulate. And if
Right.
you put a gun to my head, I don't think I could name more players than Sebastian Aho, Slavin, and Burns on that team. And I think that's the team we are trying to be.
Kotkaniemi. Like,
Yeah,
come on, man.
Like does
Who's their
Kotkaniemi
goaltender?
it's not Nitamaki, Niemi.
No, it's not Anthony. Yeah,
Isn't Frederick Anderson?
he's
Frederick
one of them.
Anderson.
He was not the one who
Antti
played last night.
Ranta.
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 No, but
Anthony
all right,
Niemi,
but also
Ranta.
what's his name?
Kotkaniemi.
Kotkaniemi.
Like, does he look like he's like inbred from the royal family? Like he's just there's something. The eyes are too close together. There's something going on.
God.
But long-winded way of saying they don't have, in my opinion, the superstar. They don't have like the guy out there. Like Aho, I think is a phenomenal player and like a poster guy, but he's not like the franchise guy, the Austin Matthews or the McDavid.
For sure.
of the world.
When Jordan Stahl, too,
Yeah,
is
Jordan
another
Stahl.
one. Like he's
Like-
not a big. He looks
Well,
like a
both Stahl
professional
brothers.
bull rider.
Yeah,
but it's a
How
long
old is that
way of
dude
saying
now?
like
Right.
he's older than I am, I think.
Right.
And it's a long-winded way of saying like I think that that's like the formula we're trying to get. It's like it's very systematic. Like
Right.
they have a great system. They have a buy-in. They have a coach who is a fucking baller, and we
There
love
it
him.
is.
He's
There
great.
it is.
And so I don't know. I look at us playing that team, and it was like us playing the big brother, us playing against our big brother a little bit. And
Right.
you know what? They won. They probably deserved to win that game if we're being real, but we had a chance to win that thing, and we still got a point out of it. So I don't have a complaint about that game one bit.
No, Tortorella said it great. I mean, they played 2 great periods, and the fact that he got bombarded with all this negative stuff right off the bat.
Like we lost 8-1 against New York again. Like that kind of
Yeah. He's like, guys, shut up! Like we did.
Well, the
all right.
numbers, their expected goals for
Take your
were
numbers and
not
shove 'em.
quite where they need
The
to be.
season isn't about numbers to me. I'm sure it's
gonna
not about
listen
numbers
to
to
my
a lot of us.
alternative music and
The only
crunch the
numbers that
numbers.
matter are the records.
I would love if Tortorella was like, yeah, the numbers look like we're number 1 in the conference.
I would love that, man. I would bake him cookies and hand deliver them.
Tony D'Angelo comes out and goes, "The Godfather's done.
No more questions.
No more questions."
No,
My friend,
you're right,
my
though.
friend, no questions.
It's mind-boggling to me. Like people can, well, I shouldn't say it. There are going to be negatives, and there are negatives, but like the fact that the Flyers are one of the top teams in the Metro at this
Right.
point, like, come on, ride the wave.
Enjoy this while you can.
Yeah.
For the love
Yeah.
of Christ.
It's like
If
nothing's
we
ever good
got-
enough for these people.
If you had told us 3 weeks ago or a month ago, whatever it is, that we would be 5-2-1.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Like I would have if we were 2-5-1. I'd be like, damn, we beat 2 teams.
I know. I would say there's a better chance of us being 0-8.
Right?
Well, your daily dose of humility here. We started the last 2 seasons 5-2-1, apparently. So
Don't start with that crap.
Don't do that.
Yep.
no,
I mean,
enjoy it. I'm enjoying it.
The first week, we all sat down, and looked at each other like, "There's no way we come away with a single win the first
And
week."
we did.
You're right. Like
We absolutely did.
we're beating out quote unquote the top teams right now. We have Florida, we have Tampa Bay.
Mhm.
I mean, we got a point against Carolina. They're a top team in the East.
Yeah.
You just gotta roll with it. The bounce back is what's exciting. We go down 2 goals and we fight back somehow, which is incredible to me.
Well, there's fight
That's
in
a-
this team.
That's a mind-boggling stat that last year we didn't have a single 2-goal comeback, and this year we have 3?
Already.
More than that.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the second period is our best period?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Historically, it's been the
We
worst.
bounced back now from 2 losses and won the very next game, which like I'm interested to see. I'll have to look further into it to see how many of those we had where we bounced back and won the game after we lost. Like,
Right.
you know, there's
Again,
at least 3 because there were 3 10-game losing streaks, but
Right.
Oh man, Derek, that just brought me back to a dark place.
oh man, I'm sorry. That's the second straight week I've mentioned that.
Find your happy place. Find your happy place.
Chubb's waving with his wooden hand. No, I mean the press conference. You're seeing the Tortorella attitude, the mindset. Like I love that. I loved it before he got here. I'll love it after he leaves. I just think it's great that I just like the confrontation. Like I think it's great and putting people in their place when they ask questions like that, where it's like, dude, piss off. Like we had a decent game, 2 out of 3
Right.
periods. Like kiss my ass.
It was so good. Come on, guys. Glass is half full. Like
Half glass full.
Right.
Right, John?
Half glass full.
Half glass full.
Name of the episode right there.
There it is. Half
Right there.
glass.
Matt Dillon.
Half glass full. Yep, that's it right there. Anyways, any other general thoughts in terms of the press conference? Then either press conference. We didn't really touch much on the one after the initial game against the Panthers.
I didn't
but
watch
is there
that one.
anything to? Yeah, shocker. All right, let's move on to Kiefer Bellows.
Oh,
Flyers
yeah.
have another former
Hoagie
first-round
gets
pick.
all butthurt about this one.
Oh yeah,
Butthurt.
dude, I won't lie. I was impressed. I thought that when he went at it with somebody behind the net, I couldn't tell you who, you saw in his face, he was like, I'm going to kill that guy. And I'm like, that's the only observation I've got about it. Like, I was like, all right, this guy's got some snarl, and seems like he's got the right mindset to maybe succeed here.
He was noticeable, right? I mean, like,
Yeah.
I heard his name a few times, and I think, and with these games, if I can hear your name, that's a good sign for the most part, right? Like, I don't really know if he's always had that aggressiveness to his game, but he was bought in yesterday. I feel like, and very like low risk, high reward, or well, somewhat high reward, I guess. I mean, he can put the puck in the back of the net. That'd be great.
Yeah, that's what he's supposed to be doing. Apparently,
Right.
highly regarded coming out of the draft, and
Him and Tips.
yeah.
Hoagie, what's your gripe? I know you're hating on Bellows.
I'm not hating. I just don't see it. I think we have way too many projects in our system right now that we don't need to add another one. We have Owen
What
Tippett.
else are we
with Warrior
supposed to
Frost.
add then? Out of curiosity, like, what are we supposed to add? All the sure things that are available?
And Nisimov is hurt, dude.
Oh, he skated.
He's not even
Skated.
signed. He's
We're
still on
gonna
a PTO. I know we're on sign him. Are you kidding me? I
Nisimov
don't know.
is the missing link to this team.
Oh boy.
Oh.
I don't know.
He'll come back, and we're gonna be set. We're gonna be rock effing solid up the middle.
I'm not gonna lie, like I was actually kind of excited about it because he's been on that Islanders team for a couple of years now, like up with the actual big club, and like they have a pretty legit top 12 up there. Even their fourth line is very legit. Last night that line of Frost, Bellows, and who else was on there?
It was Allison, wasn't it?
No, it was
No.
Who's the other goon with the mustache?
McEwen.
McEwen. Every time they were on the ice, the only person I noticed was McEwen, and that made me a little bit like good for McEwen, but like I was hoping for a little more, and part of it also was like I'm so not impressed with Frost.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And so look, it's one game, sample size, but I think you're right, John. I think it's a low risk, high reward. The guy's what, $1 million and a quarter, something like that.
At the end of the season, we don't need to re-sign him.
Yeah, it's a test case, and if Hoagie, to combat your comment, if we're ever gonna like do projects, like might as well make it this year. There's zero expectations.
No,
the whole year's a project.
I get that, but I mean, 25 points in 76 games when you're supposed to be a highly touted prospect.
Right.
Well, let's get past that,
It was
though.
the 2016 draft, though.
Yeah, let's get past that.
Okay.
Like I understand
Who else
where
did we
you're
take
coming
in that
from.
2016 draft?
Yerman Rubstov.
Yeah, Rubstov, 22nd overall. Pascal LeBerge, 36th overall.
Gone.
But what does that have to do with Kiefer Bellows?
The draft is full of busts. 2016 is just a bunch of busts. Avoid that draft.
Except we have Carter Hart and Wade Allison right after that. We've had 3 picks in the second round.
Busts to this point. Nope.
You having this
I'm
hissy
just saying.
fit?
I'm not having a hissy fit.
No, over the group text thing. I'm like, what does this guy think is happening? Like, is Wayne Gretzky reincarnate somewhere out there that we don't know about?
And what's the worst case scenario? We waive him, like, and then we're back to where we started.
No, that's fine. I just don't see where he fits in the lineup. You just said Bellows played with Frost and McEwen last night. What type of line
Where
is that?
does anybody fit? Zach McEwen is on the power play, brother.
And listen, it's working for freaking Zach McEwen. That's where I'm at.
We're using
one of our
peanut
top
butter
three
to
forwards.
keep the house up right now.
I don't know. I'm not. I was never a fan of Bellows. I just don't know.
It's so good, but we're winning. Shut up. We're winning.
I'm with
winning,
Casey
but-
here. I'm with Casey. This is the year to take on these types of projects because you still have a flexible core. Like, you want to make sure to set that core in place. Why not try a couple out?
And who's he preventing from? Like,
I'm not saying he's preventing anybody.
I know.
I just don't. I don't understand. I agree. It's the year to do this type of project with all these random names, but I don't know.
Every time Bellows scores, Hoagie, we're gonna make you eat it.
That's fine. I hope he makes me eat my words. All right, see you, Derek.
Okay. Well, and he's out. I mean, is there anything else to even say about Kiefer Bellows at this point? He's had one game. I mean, right, he didn't do anything fantastic, but
What's wild to me is he only played a game for the Islanders before getting waived too.
yeah.
Like
This is all you got to remember too. Like the Islanders have never been an offensive team. You know, like
no,
he doesn't seem like somebody whose skill set would work with that team to begin with. But
maybe
dumped all
I
their
don't
money into Matt Barzell.
right, yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Who
the
is
year
good? I like Wendell.
the year
Yeah.
that Bellows was in the draft, he was kind of the one that I wanted the Flyers to grab just because of like the scoring upside, I guess,
Right.
you know.
Right.
And then when we traded back because, you know, the draft genius himself deciding that Yerman Rubstov was the better idea, I was a little annoyed. So when I saw that we picked up Bellows on waivers, like, hey, look at this.
Right.
Right.
It was
I
destiny.
I think if there's one thing that we need, it's goals. And the fact we're getting it from Allison, which, like, good for Allison, great. But Delorier, you know, scoring by committee is a great thing until the committee gets adjourned. And then, like,
Right.
nobody is scoring. You don't have that guy to rely on. And I'm not saying this is Bellows. But what it does do is give a guy who is, like, you know, characterized as a sniper, as a scoring winger. And I think that's something that we need, especially with JVR out, especially with Cam mysteriously supposing to play for the last 3 weeks and hasn't. Like, we need it. We need something. And again, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It's okay. It's
Right.
okay.
Right.
You know, he's not going to be the make or break for a Stanley Cup run this year. And so I think it's actually a savvy move by Chuck, and it's really kind of more so telling on like the injuries of the other guys that we have, which is like, oh shoot,
that was the first thing. We don't know where Cam Atkinson is with his injury.
Yeah.
That's pretty much why we
or
grabbed
just
him.
where he is, period.
Right, that too. I mean, like I said, I just don't know who's going to feed him the puck for him to be that type of sniper. We don't have anybody like that, really.
Morgan
Yeah,
Frost.
I mean, but you could say that for so many, you know, like the Owen Tippett who's feeding him the puck.
You know what, man? Can we talk
Tony
about that for a
D'Angelo.
second? Can we talk about
Actually,
that?
Travis Konechny.
Sure. Yeah.
Owen Tippett had a freaking game last night.
Yeah,
Like,
it's about time.
He
Well, I mean, he
actually
was hurt for a week with a concussion.
No, so what? That doesn't mean anything.
get it together, Owen. Like, smack his head back in his face. It wasn't necessarily his goal was great, but number two, his entries on the power play, he's the guy on the power play that we need. Just bring it in, because for some reason everybody else dishes right at the blue line and it gets hit every single time. But it was that play where he busted his ass and got back and stopped a breakaway from someone.
Yep.
I was like, okay, like
Right.
this guy's got something going on. And I think last night, hopefully he builds on it, but last night was the first night that I was like, this guy is actually taking control a bit of the game versus just being part of it. And so hopefully it's more to come there. But I was very impressed with Tippett last night.
I agree with you. I like it. All right. I mean, should we move on to the next thing?
Let's go.
Might as well at this point.
Sean Couturier, right? That's what we got next.
Yep.
So what? He's going to be out for is it 3 to 4 months?
3 to 4 months. Yep.
And
let's just call it 4 months.
Let's call it 4 to 6 at this point. Like, let's be real here. I mean, he had reconstructive back surgery or something with a
revisionist surgery or something.
A retool of his back. Right?
I mean,
An aggressive
listening to
retool.
Chuck Fletcher talk about it, it's like, well, they went in there the first time, they thought they got it.
The surgeon had the shakes, and so missed it.
But and I loved it. He's like, and then all of a sudden, it just didn't feel right, so we shot him up for a little bit.
You
and
felt
that worked
great
for like 2 weeks. It felt great.
Give the guy the Lance Armstrong shot for the next 8 years. I don't care.
Shockingly enough, though, it didn't last.
not Lance Armstrong, Lance Harbor from Varsity Blues. That's what I was thinking.
Oh, there you go.
His knee got, yeah. Funnier
But-
when you get the name right.
But I mean, listen, Chuck Fletcher's happy because now we have some clarity that he's just going to be out for a really damn long time. Casey, I mean, feelings?
Numb. Just my
Shut
feelings
up.
are, yeah, my feelings are shut up with a cortisone shot. It was, I mean, it's disappointing. It's the worst case scenario. I think Chuck quoted like 10% of the surgery, you know, it doesn't always hit, and like he's part of the 10%. Of course.
he is.
Why wouldn't he be?
Right.
Because we've had such great luck with back issues lately. And so, I mean, this will be, I think we were saying before the podcast, Sean hasn't played since last December, I think. And so it's going to be a year and 3 months before he plays meaningful hockey again. And that's scary. And, you know, to have that much money wrapped into this guy is a little bit petrifying. And I hope that it does get right. And I hope it does happen. But I can't remember a time where we've had this many injuries of similar caliber and of similar like obscurity. Like
It's a hex. It has to be a hex. It's the only logical explanation. Some witch hexed them all.
Hextall them all.
Oh, the Hextall hex.
Yeah.
It was Leah Hextall, though, or whatever her name is.
Casey's favorite.
So I'm not pleased about it, but at the same time, at least we're not waiting day to day, week to week. It's like, all right, man.
Right.
Well, after Valentine's Day, we'll revisit you.
Right.
That's what we're looking at.
Right. Casey, I mean, no, Hoagie. Sorry, I just didn't want to hear from Hoagie, so I called Casey's name twice. Hoagie,
I'll go
say
again
you.
here.
Just what Casey said, numb. It's brutal. Second surgery in 8.5 months, right? At this point, just put him on LTIR and just don't let him even see the ice this season. There's no point for him to see the ice at this point. Like,
Well, I mean, unless it helps get him back to where he needs to. I mean, you know, like as I was thinking about that too, right? It's like come February, let's say we're completely out of it. Does it make sense to bring him back? And it's like, yeah, it does, because
yeah, a little bit, absolutely. But
he needs to play.
I would rather him just skate and practices or whatnot. I wouldn't even try to, because I feel like if he's gonna play, we're on see the Couturier that we've seen all these years. He's just gonna go 110%.
So
and
get that out of the way now, though, right? Wouldn't that make more sense? Like get that out of the way in a lost season.
and then risk of re-injury. I'm not on it.
I mean, listen, dude, he's gonna hop on the ice anytime and risk a re-injury.
I know. Back injuries are tough. He's obviously going to deal with it for the rest of his life. Like the reconstructive part of it, it's just kind of like not even a Band-Aid. It's just like something to get you back to where you should be.
All right, so let's do this again. Who do you see on the ice first? Atkinson, Ellis, Couturier.
Good
JVR.
Great time.
JVR.
I didn't. JVR wasn't an option, dude.
Atkinson, Couturier, or who?
Ellis.
Atkinson, Couturier, Ellis. Who do you see on the ice?
Derek's back. Look at that.
Atkinson. I trust him because he's going to a doctor outside of Philly, and there's not as much murkiness as Ellis's situation.
No,
I mean,
Couturier's
yeah,
down
we haven't
in
even
Dallas.
heard about
He's down in
Ellis.
Dallas or something. Like
I don't
Couturier's
care.
not.
If you had to just like process, I mean, Ellis is never coming back. I'm sorry.
No, I just
Yeah,
wanted
we're
money
past
back.
that.
Like get him off the books. Like let's just pull
Yep.
ties. How do we?
I
Do
would
that?
like
that would
to
hit
think-
Nashville. Wouldn't even hit us.
I would like to think that Cam Atkinson is going to be back before 4 months, but yeah, I got to go Cam Atkinson on this one too.
Yep.
You have to.
Granted, I mean, he could be limbless for all we know. Like he could just be a stump.
There's sled hockey.
He's like the Monty Python and the Holy Grail like knight.
It's a flesh wound. Just a flesh wound.
Tis a flesh wound.
We're gonna. The freaking Flyers team is like the other guy in Monty Python. Bring out your dead. Bring out your dead.
Where veterans go to just get slaughtered, man. Like, I mean,
Extreme wrestling in the locker room. Like, what the hell is happening?
helmets and gloves are going to
let's throw another name in there. What about Patrick Brown?
He was skating the other day, wasn't he?
I would throw Brown in there as coming back before Christmas, if I'm
Yeah.
being
Think
fair.
so?
Yeah,
I think you're right,
I think
yeah.
so. And I think, you know what? None of us really know Patrick Brown. He hasn't really played for this team in a year. But, like, from what I remember, and from what our friend Jim Jackson told us last February, like, Patrick Brown's a good fourth-line center.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
fourth
what
line
we
So
need.
is
center
everybody else on the team.
not Lasinski,
Not long.
Lachinsky, whatever the frick his
Oh,
name is.
right, yeah.
Or Hayden Hodgson isn't a center. Never mind.
I think I do hope we're going to see Atkinson, but like I'll put my money on Couturier. I'll take the solid money that hey we'll see Couturier end of February, and that may be before Atkinson.
Jesus.
I don't think we see Couturier at all this year. I'll be
We were
honest.
kind of talking about that before, and I mean, do you think it's going to be because he's just not ready, or do you think that they're just going to shelve him at some point?
I think that the smart move would be to shelve him because this is a long contract. We've had this conversation a couple times
Casey
now.
and I disagree with this though.
Really?
Yeah, I'm with you there.
I think
Okay.
you got to get his feet wet again. I think you got to get it going, control his minutes in the last month of the season, and
Right. I'd
Even
rather
meaning-
ease him into it during a lost season, right?
Okay.
Than ease him into it where hopefully we're in a position to be better.
But on the flip side of that too, if again it's a long contract, it's a lost season, are you going to risk a re-injury? I mean,
I view it as every time that guy's on the ice from now on, there's a risk of re-injury.
I'd rather risk the re-injury in March versus risk it next September.
Right, because
Okay.
then you're banking on him being there, just like this year. You know, like if he gets hurt again in March, it's like, all right, we just need to look at it as this guy's not
Yeah.
going to be on the ice.
How
next season.
amazing is it that like we were so pissed about our roster, and now the top line of that roster is gone. With JVR, Couturier, and Atkinson is gone,
oh, yeah.
and we're like, oh man, Noah
I
Case
just-
is looking pretty good
But,
these days.
but we're winning games without him.
I just can't see it, man. Like it's as frustrating as it is for everybody involved. Obviously, like Sean Couturier is the franchise at this point. Like if we're being honest, I mean, that's
Sports
the
is
guy.
Not Sean.
Well, okay, that's fair. But like in an ideal world where Couturier hasn't been injured for the last 30 years, like he's our guy. Selke winning, one of the best two-way defensemen or two-way centermen in the league. Like he's our guy. And he hasn't seen the ice or been healthy for any elongated period of time for quite some time
year.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It just feels like so much longer.
it does. It
Right.
absolutely does. And because of the fact that now he's been signed to this crazy extension, which there was some talk about Chuck knowing what his medical bill looked like before signing him to this extension, which is
No.
another discussion.
What?
No.
No. He signed the extension last offseason, and Chuck knew about the injury at this year's draft.
Okay.
The two got confused. I know exactly what you're
Derek,
okay.
pinpointing.
Derek,
Okay.
are you saying that he knew? Are you
No,
claiming that he
that's
knew
what I
about his
thought,
medical
but
bill?
I-
And was like, hey, let me
Hoagie
kick you
cleared that up.
$7 million for the
Hoagie
next
cleared
Someone
that
got it
up.
confused in the group chat where
Yeah.
Chuck knew about the injury status back
Yeah.
at the draft, and
Got
they
it.
thought that he signed the
Yeah.
contract this offseason. It was last
That's on me.
offseason that he drafted.
Chuck's
I fell for
charities.
it.
You knew about Ryan Ellis too. He's like, oh, come on, I'll front the bill.
Bring him in.
No
We're
big
good.
deal.
Like, wait till you meet our medical staff. Anyways, no, Hoagie, thank you for clearing that up. So I fell for that one. But regardless, I mean, you're looking at a guy who's been plagued by injuries for quite some time now. And then pairing that with the fact that he's signed now for 8 years, I just think that, you know, a cautious approach is absolutely what you need to take. And in a season where, like, I mean, Hoagie seems to think we might be playing for the goddamn playoffs here. I disagree.
Damn right we are.
Regardless,
For
It's just-
October 1st place, mother trucker.
yeah, maybe
Listen.
fantasy playoffs. I don't know, but
All right.
I just don't
We'll see
think
Ginger
it's
Jimmy
smart.
win.
I just don't think
All
it's
right,
smart
hold
to
on.
rush him back. And at any point, I feel like it's rushing him back this season.
But if you, I'm not saying rushing Couturier back. I'm not
Neither
saying
am
like
I.
rush him back, put him in first line center minutes. I'm saying like if it's March and even if we're out of the playoffs or even pushing, it's like get him in the lineup and give him
Right.
12 minutes a night.
If the
Something
doctors
like
give him
that,
full clearance and say he's ready to
just
play,
get him.
The same
get
doctors
him-
that gave
get him-
Kevin Hayes and Ellis clearance.
well, I know, but
that's
you're
my
doing
point.
this whole thing, man, where it's like, you're the one that's looking for equal pay for everybody type deal.
What the hell does that have to do with anything we're discussing right now?
Just what you remind me of right now. You're just pulling out crazy stuff.
So, Derek, I get your point. Like, I agree with the cautious, but I think there's a way that if he is cleared, to be cautious and get his timing and like get him back into the system.
Right.
It's called an
It
AHL
will have
stint.
been more than a year. Get him adjusted. Get him like acclimated towards his system, because I think it's going to pay dividends in 2023 when and if he ends up tweaking it again, you know what? I'd rather know in March and be able to take care of it or shut him down fully and get the money back at that time versus next September.
Casey, you see
Listen.
what I have to deal with, man? You get this feeling, right, when you know that you're right, but the morons on the other end are going to continue to argue with you. This is what I deal with all the time.
Listen,
You
we're
see
about to
what
have
you
the
deal with
best,
Because you're a teacher
Like-
of fourth grade students.
but
I'm gonna
by
talk to
honest,
these
Casey's
two.
logic, we're about to have the best fourth line center in the NHL.
There you go.
Hey, you know what? We're gonna have between Hayes and Couturier, our bottom six centers is gonna be
The most expensive
Highest
third
paid
and
bottom
fourth line
six centers.
centers.
But like,
Can we not
I
send him
don't
down for a
mind that.
conditioning stint in the AHL? Like
Yeah,
that's
you absolutely can.
dude. No, and I don't
Sure you
mean
can.
that
But
as
why
in like
not?
shut up. But I'm saying if we want to ease him back into this, guys take conditioning stints all the time. Like, is that not doable? Can we do
Can't
that?
he condition in the AHL and then play some games in the NHL if there's still time?
Well, yes, obviously,
And
because
you're
if he
still
goes through the conditioning stint and he's good to go,
Hey,
okay.
really quick. So you just said you don't want to risk re-injury. Do they not get injured in the AHL? Is that how that works?
Look at the
No.
level of
Can't-
competition.
Hashtag Tim
here.
York. Hashtag Tim York.
Look at the level of competition. How
The
well,
level
how
of
long have we been
competition has
harping on it?
nothing to do with people getting injured. You a race ahead.
What?
Yeah,
Like,
I'm
the
I'm trying to
dude-
skip over that insult because I have no idea what that meant.
What did you just say?
You're on a roll tonight, pal.
You're in a race
Racer?
ahead. It's like you got a head, and on the inside, it's nothing but a racer.
That is such.
What is it? Like Men in Black? Like the pen?
I want you to take back every single insult you've slung at us tonight because
My
you're
uncle-
having a rough one, bud.
My uncle used to call me that. I thought it was a good one. All right.
What
We're
else
gonna
did
move
your
on
uncle
here.
do?
Let's table this one.
Real
I
quick,
walked into
can we
this.
talk about Kevin Hayes for a second? Because I'm
Speaking of eraserheads, let's talk about Kevin Hayes.
I'm more concerned about the long-term, the long-term plan with this guy, because he does not seem to be somebody who's bought in. And I think of all of like the talented players, which is like 2 or 3 of them, he seems like the guy to me that is having a really hard time buying into the John Tortorella way of doing things. I feel like after the benching, you saw that it struck a nerve in a good way with Travis Konechny, right? I feel
Good
like that
for
guy's
him,
been
by the way.
all-
Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
he's my all-star. I don't
Working his
care what
ass
anybody
off.
says.
He looks
He's
so
our
good.
all-star this year. He's great.
Yeah.
I like him.
And
100%.
I guess I just haven't noticed that much of a difference in Kevin Hayes' game.
Mm-mm.
But I mean, that Thursday night game against Florida, Hayes was still producing and still in a positive way. He just, I get what you're saying. He doesn't
There's
look
not a
bought into the entire
Right.
system.
There's not a commitment to the system the way I see
Right.
with other people.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's still producing, but he's just not.
But
in
if
the
you're gonna
system as much.
But if you're going to produce while still playing outside of the system, I feel like that's more of an indictment on your character than anything.
Sure.
And if you're looking to build a culture, you're looking for character guys.
Right.
So right there's that initial disconnect where it's, I'm not going to say it's a complete deal breaker, but like that's not a good start.
No.
Yeah.
Like, he's usually what, the third or fourth guy in after a whistle, right? Like usually you have
What from
if you're
scrums and stuff like that?
in the scrums, yeah, he's not
Yeah.
the one like really getting into it. He comes in when there's another guy that he has
He's
to
never
grab.
been like that
No,
type of
he's
guy
a
to
boy.
my knowledge, though.
Like
yeah.
he wants to go smoke
Right.
reefer.
Didn't they have the
behind
mic up where
dumpster.
like he grabbed a hold of somebody and he's like, "Yep, that's not us, guys. It's not us." Was that him or am I getting somebody else confused?
Hello, fella. Hey, good fella.
Okay, let's describe a dance partner.
I don't know, man. It's tough to, and maybe it's just from the lack of like top line quote unquote talent that we don't have right now. But like, I think it's tough to say that Hayes isn't doing well right now when I think he's like one of the league leaders in assists right now. And so, like, it's tough to
Secondary.
claim that. But I will say, when it comes into full buy-in, I consider that, and we've heard this from, some anonymous sources that like, the shot blocking, things like that. Like, I don't see Hayes diving down and doing it. And like, that sucks. Like that's a tough role to do, but you know what? Provorov is doing it. He's got a black and blue foot hobbling around.
Justin
He's still
Braun freaking took one in the head and still came back.
Yeah,
Right.
Braun is getting up from his AARP membership
It's in
and
his
then
name,
jumping in.
Braun. Justin Braun.
And then I look, I don't want to stray too far from the Hayes conversation, but I look at a guy like Sealer. Like Sealer, I thought was dog crap. Like I thought he was terrible. I think he's a gem, and he's never going to be an all-star. We know that. He has been an absolute treat in the first month of this
He got
season.
2 goals.
Him up.
he has more goals than Frost does.
Does he have 3?
No,
Sealer's
I
Frost
think
has
Sealer may have
Same
one.
amount. Same amount as Frost.
Yeah, Frost has 2. Yep. Right.
But Sealer
One
has
game.
been like, you know what? I'm taking this. I know how to block shots. I know how to get rough. I can chip in offensively. Like, screw it. I'm in. I don't know if I see that same mentality from Hayes. And in some ways I get it. Like Hayes is like, dude, I don't want to get a broken foot. Like, that's
It's
not
like Roger
gonna help
Dorn.
me.
Like, no.
Step into the pitch.
What's with this old lady bullshit?
So I don't know. I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, I'm not ready to pull the ripcord on Hayes. I do think he's.
I mean, we can.
I
But
think he's a good locker room guy. He's still producing. Like we're kind of stuck with him. So,
But where's the breaking point there? Like, where do you look at the lack of buy-in versus production and say, okay, here's the breaking point? You know what I mean?
I think that's where Tortorella's like thing comes in. Like he's not going to listen to Chuck. If Chuck's like, no, you can't bench him. Like he's going to bench him. He will bench him if he is not doing. And I'm not talking like the 1 period thing. I'm talking like in the press box. You're up
for a game or 2. Yeah.
Right.
Like, are you going to excuse his production if he's like a point per game guy? Like, if he's scoring 82 points in an 82 game season, are you going to be like, nope, not good enough. You're not buying in. Take a seat.
I think it depends if it bleeds to the rest of the locker room.
Yep.
Right.
That's the biggest issue for the past how many years?
Right. So if he ends up, if he's putting up points, but he's not fully bought in, but everybody else is fully bought in, I could see, Tortorella being more like, okay, as long as everybody else understands that they're not going to get away with this the way he is. But
and then what you strip his power play time and stuff like that. You just like, all right, man, you're gonna be a regular 5-on-5 guy. You're not getting anything.
You take until there's no more to take.
Right. And I wasn't bringing this up because I think it's like a crazy issue, but I could just see it down the road becoming one.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, well, what you're seeing now is indicative of a potential issue, and who knows? We'll see. I think that if somebody like a big name does get benched for like a game or 2, that's the big name right there.
Yep.
A big quote unquote name.
That's the first domino. Absolutely.
Sure. Like we all kind of thought Konechny, but like the way he's playing, hell no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He's
And
good.
the way he has responded as well.
Yes.
He looks 100% looks like he's hooked on painkillers, by the way. Like he is just like scraggly beard, like
He's got a
he's
kid
all
now.
over the place.
That's what it is. Think about when you first had
Oh
your
yeah,
kid.
he's a dad. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You just look
Like,
like shit.
what did
when
your
you become a
coworkers
dad.
say to you when you first had your kid? You probably walked into the office and they're like, Jesus, Casey.
The first 2 years are rough. You're like, dude, I'm 2 months into it.
Like, I want to kill myself. God.
Oh my
boy.
Like people who have like 5 kids, like what they're a different breed. They're the kind of people who eat out of like bodega buffets, you know, like that's a different breed of person.
Well, then they wear Lululemon. It's like once you have a certain amount of kids, like that's the only thing you're allowed to wear. Apparently, Lululemons.
Oh, you're a sales
I
rep
wish it was
for 'em.
socially acceptable for me to just wear tights around all day, man. It'd be great.
You see me walking around looking like
Thanks,
Adam
in class.
Sandler with oversized tees and basketball shorts all day. Oh, well, I'm sorry that I missed a giant chunk of this show, but it was fun
That was a good.
while
One.
I was here, at least. Matt Hoagland, please, God, don't disappoint us this week with your dad joke.
Oh, last week's was bad.
Not your best. I'll admit it was not your best. The one you shared in the group chat, passable.
Yeah, I had to keep that one in the group chat.
Who cares? Let it rip.
What do you call a wizard that falls down the stairs?
Dumbledore.
Tumble door.
Oh,
All right.
You're so
Stupid.
smart, John.
Just the fact that John guessed, I think he was hooked
Yeah.
on it and he thought it was going to be a good one.
Yep.
Solely based off the guess.
I don't get that. Is that a Harry Potter reference?
Harry Potter.
Yeah, you muggle.
you don't know Harry Potter?
No, dude.
I forget.
Filthy
You're of the Lord of the
mudblood.
Rings generation.
I don't like Dungeons and Dragons, guys. I don't know what you want me to tell you.
Wow, the slander. Oh, end this before we piss anybody else
By the
off.
way, House of Dragons isn't tonight. Damn it! What the heck?
Yeah, you know what it is tonight? The Phillies game. Not even a Phillies fan, but I am right now. It's not tonight. It's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, by the
Alright.
time everybody's listening, they're going to hear it and be like, "Yeah, the Phillies game is
Amazing
tonight." So,
conviction on that comment, though.
Right.
Bought into that one.
I know nothing but selling, but regardless, anyways, Hoagie, let everybody know where they're going to find you.
Pod Street Hose on the Bird app.
All right, that's it. See you later, everybody.
Let that one simmer. Matt Casey
Positive Casey
on that.
on Twitter. On
Perfect.
Elon Musk's Twitter.
Oh, all right, John.
Yeah. You can find
Yep.
this show on all your various podcast listening receptacles. It's great. See you later.
Speaker,
I'm on
Twitter, Flickr.
Spreaker, Pod Muncher. Missed that one. It's been discontinued. Banned in the States.
Great.
You can only get it in Russia. So if Ivan, if you're listening, we miss you.
Yep.
You can find
We
you know,
just need
Only
to say goodbye,
advertisements are
All right.
advertisements are for military service. It's great.
Pod Street Bob, Pod Street Gove, Pod ST Bullies, all on Twitter. Check out the affiliates. 5 Minute Major at 5 Min Major Pod on Twitter. Flyers High and Wide on Twitter at Flyers HW. And our guys over at the Hockey Focus, they're on Twitter at the Hockey Focus. Until next week, folks, we got a couple games to look forward to, and we will see you next week.
Bye now.